All right, today we're jumping into something pretty revolutionary coming out of India. It's a payment system that's totally changing the game for how millions of people get to their money. It's called the Aadhaar Enabled Payment System, or AePS for short.
So let's just start with this idea. What if you didn't need your wallet? No card, no pen, not even your phone to get cash or just check your bank balance. What if all you really needed was your fingerprint? I know, it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but this is real and it's happening right now.
You see, for millions and millions of people, especially out in rural and remote areas, the bank wasn't just, down the street. We're talking about a journey that could take hours, covering miles and miles. Just doing something simple like getting cash, well, it was a massive hurdle. And it's exactly that problem that led to this whole new way of thinking.
So to really get why this is such a big deal, we have to first understand the sheer scale of the problem. It all boils down to one word: access.
Okay, so picture this. You live in a village, and the nearest ATM or bank branch is a long, expensive trip away. A lot of people just don't have a debit card to begin with, and if you're carrying around a lot of physical cash, well, that's a security risk in itself, right? This is what we're talking about when we say the banking divide. It was a gap that desperately needed a bridge.
And the solution that came out of this, it is just so elegant in its simplicity. The big idea was this: let's use the one thing you always have with you, something that's totally and completely unique to you, as the key to your bank account. And that thing is your fingerprint.
So that brings us to the system itself, AePS. Officially, it's a bank-led digital payment system, but what that really means is it lets you do your banking using just two things. First, your Aadhaar number, that's India's unique 12-digit national ID. And second, your biometric data, usually your fingerprint. The key takeaway? No card, no phone, and no PIN, none of it.
Now, a system this big doesn't just pop up overnight. It was actually introduced way back in 2011. It was part of this huge government project called the India Stack, which aimed to build a single digital platform for all citizens. The tech was developed by the National Payments Corporation of India, you'll hear them called NPCI, and the whole biometric side of things was supported by UID-AI, which is the big authority that manages the Aadhaar ID system.
Okay, so how does this magic actually happen, right? How does your fingerprint securely talk to your bank account? Well, let's pull back the curtain and look at the digital handshake that makes it all possible in just a matter of seconds.
From the user's point of view, it's almost ridiculously simple. You just give your Aadhaar number, put your finger on a scanner, and that's literally it. But behind the scenes, a super complex yet lightning fast and secure process just kicks into gear. And boom, the service you asked for, whether it's getting cash or something else, happens instantly.
So there are three main players that make this whole thing work so smoothly.
Let's think of it like ordering something online. First, you have UID-AI. They're like the security guard at the door, checking your ID, in this case, your fingerprint, to make sure you are who you say you are. Then you have NPCI. They're like the central shipping hub, the post office that takes your request and routes it securely to the right bank. And finally, there's your bank. They're the warehouse that actually gets the product, your money, and completes the transaction. It's a really slick three-part dance.
And here's where it gets really clever. This solves what people call the last mile problem. Instead of you having to go to an ATM, the ATM kind of comes to you. See, these transactions are all handled by local agents. Often it's just your local shopkeeper. They're called banking correspondents, and they use this small, handheld device called a micro ATM. It's basically a little gadget with a fingerprint scanner built right in.
And what does all of this add up to? Something incredibly powerful. You can now do all your essential banking without ever having to step inside an actual bank.
So what exactly can you do with this? Well, all the basics, right at your fingertips. You can check your balance, you can withdraw cash, you can even deposit cash. You can get a mini statement to see your last few transactions. And you can even send money directly to someone else's account. We're talking about the core services that give people real financial freedom right in their own neighborhood.
So if you put the old way and the new way side by side, the difference is just wow. Traditional banking, you need cards, you need to remember PINs, you need to find a bank or an ATM. With AePS, all you need is your identity and a local agent. It just strips away all that complexity and makes it so much more accessible.
So what are the secret ingredients here? What makes this work so well? First, it's completely cardless and paperless.
Second, the security is top-notch because it's tied to you, your biometrics. Third, and this is a huge one, it's interoperable. That's just a fancy word meaning it works with any bank, which is a total game changer. And maybe most importantly, the person using it doesn't need a phone or an internet connection at all.
All right, so let's zoom out for a second and look at the really big picture here. Because this isn't just about a new way to pay. It's a critical piece of a massive national transformation.
The ripple effect from apps is just enormous. I mean, it's giving millions of people easy, reliable access to their own money, many for the very first time. It's making life safer because people don't have to carry around big wads of cash anymore. It lets the government send benefit payments directly to people's accounts, which helps cut out middlemen and delays. And of course, it's a huge pillar of the country's whole Digital India mission.
When you boil it all down, AePS is this incredibly powerful and inclusive tool. It takes the national ID system, Aadhaar, and uses it to bring banking right to the doorstep of pretty much every single citizen, no matter how far away they live.
And that really leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to chew on. This whole system proves that a secure digital identity can be the key that unlocks financial services for everyone. But it really makes you think, if your identity can unlock your bank, what else could it unlock? What other doors to services, opportunities, and a better life could be opened with the same key in the future?